Would you please lead the invocation?
Come on in. All right, let us pray. Lord Heavenly Father, we just ask your blessing and your guidance on this meeting. Lord, help it to be pleasing in your sight. Help us not to use our wisdom, but your wisdom, Lord, in all things. And forgive us of our sins and shortcomings. And thank you, Lord, for everyone that's here. And help us just to benefit Fannin County in all that we say and do. And we ask these things in Christ's holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, item number 2 would be to approve the minutes of the January 14th workshop and the January 14th regular meeting, and then the January 23rd special call meeting. So please let me know, Commissioners, when you're ready to move forward on all 3.
I've looked through and I'm ready, Chairman.
I have no objections.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion that we approve the minutes.
Make the motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Minutes are approved. A couple of items of change on the agenda. Item number 6, Ms. Morris will not be able to be here tonight, so we're going to move her to February the 11th, Sherry. And then item number 10, we're going to move executive session up right after public commentary. Public commentary. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand, come forward, tell us who you are and where you live in Fannin County. Who would like to be first?
I'm Joe Webb. I live in Dial in the south part of the county. Over the last 10 years, I've appeared before this body numerous times asking for a number of things relative to the local legislation, us having a single copy of it on the website that is accurate, which we do not have, and that we actually follow a number of the laws within our local legislation as it pertains to reporting to the grand jury and other things for our fiscal budget and our changes in our chairman's narrative. Last week, I had an unfortunate occasion to be at a funeral in Blairsville, and therefore had the local paper for the obituary. And in it, on January 22nd, is a publication of the Union County Grand Jury presentation. And just to read one line out of it, reports to the grand jury. A report of the finances and operations of the Commissioner's Office was presented to the grand jury by the Commissioner of Lamar Parish pursuant to OCGA 36-1-7, paragraph A. This literally is a state requirement. It is in our local legislation. We, for some reason, as the chairman, have refused to do this over the last 3.5 years. So once again, I'm asking that we get a single copy of the local legislation that's accurate, and that we follow it as to reporting to the grand jury and basically reporting our financial needs. It is the law. We're simply asking that you follow it. The thing I handed out last week at the meeting isn't the law. It's just simply good common sense. We do a lot of things here after the fact, and as it says on our agenda, the chairman's in charge and basically should be addressed. So we don't answer questions. At the last meeting, we had a proposal by REC, which we voted in $54,000 of new expenses, and we were told that this would be paid for by tuition fees for 30 preschool children attending basically county rec programs. This, if you look at it, 30 children, $54,000 is almost $2,000 a year per child in tuition we have to collect. And I'm told that there are no government grants or other monies around this. From our experience at the theater, 60% of our children in this county are on USDA free meals over at the school. We are completely subsidized. Anything we charge children for at the theater, which is only summer camp, we run a 60% scholarship rate. Our children in general do not have this sort of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to be next? Yes, Mr. Garner.
I'm Ralph Garner, Blue Ridge. I'd like to just publicly state that I protest that the county, that the citizens were left out of the discussion about the conversion of the White Path building. And I respectfully ask the commissioners, what good was gained by doing that, by omitting the citizens? We are the taxpayers behind funding all of this. One of the shining moments that I recall from past Board of Commission meetings occurred when Commissioner Johnson told the then chairman, "I want to hear what the man has to say." And the man was allowed to speak. But gosh, that's been over 4 years ago. And the posts are not willing to speak up and indicate an interest during the meetings as to what the citizens have on their mind. I don't know how Commissioners Johnson and Patterson can readily agree to pay Mr. Sutton of the architectural firm to do his data collecting when they were not on board with Chairman Helton's plan to begin with. Indeed, Commissioner Johnson is saying, and I thought his remarks at the close of the special meeting were the meatiest that were made during that session, that the county does not have the money to build an adequate library and those administration offices. The math just doesn't add up. And further, if the county builds a library that meets the state mandated size, there won't be enough room for administrative offices. I would vote for clearing the land of the dilapidated buildings and build what is wanted and needed from scratch, according to our means. I like Johnson's idea that we don't want to go in debt. We don't need to do everything at once either. Another idea I'd like to offer is buying the plans of an existing library that the library board is happy with. Buy them from another county and save the building up from scratch routine that we've been through before. And thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to be next? Anyone? Public commentary is closed. At this time, we make a motion that we go into executive session for pending litigation. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second? All right. All in favor? I make a motion, we come out of executive session. Here a second.
Second.
All in favor? We're out of executive session. Item number 3, variance request from Keith Kerr. And this is on Old Highway 76 in the Hemptown Heights, almost at the top of the mountain. And the variance requested is to place the house 30 feet from the edge of Oak Ridge Way and 35 feet from the center line of Oak Ridge Way. Is there anyone here that opposes this variance from Mr. Keith Kerr?
Here.
Okay. You gentlemen are welcome to come up and give us your reasons for the opposition.
Got on it. You know, if you're more familiar.
I'm not familiar. Our property manager was supposed to be here to represent all of the homeowners, but when we saw that, our concern is now there won't be any place for parking. And a number of the homes that are in that area have been converted from full-time residents to rentals, and they don't have enough parking. And we've had problems where the police have had to be called because ambulances couldn't get through, that sort of thing. So the way they've got it laid out, from what we can tell, obviously there's not going to be enough parking. And even if it was a full-time resident, you never know whether they're going to sell it and then turn it into a rental. And again, we're stuck with that problem. So that's our big concern. Parking is the issue.
Sir, can we get your name for the minutes?
Sure, my name is Gary Gelverden, Geldernan. And I'm on the board, the HOA board for Hemptown Heights.
Gary,
Correct.
2 R's or 1? Okay.
Did you have anything to add, Don?
Yeah, there's also some concerns about potential safety things. The rental.
What's your name,
Bill,
sir?
There's concerns about safety.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name's Bob Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S.
Okay.
I'm on the board and I'm a full-time resident.
Okay.
And a number of these years, well, I've lived there and owned that place for 13 years. And then you see sales and you get the conversion into these rental things. We've had instances where they brought in 19 cars, each car having 3 people in it, but we don't know enough about what is the intended usage for this place. We have limited resources. For instance, we're on a well system, and we don't know, is this going to be a rental? Is this going to be primary residence? Are they going to meet the code? Every place that went in up there, at that time, there was a code that called for each bedroom to have 250-gallon sewage tank. Now, personally, I don't know if that's still in place, but when you've got 18 people in a house for 4 or 5 consecutive weekends, guess what happens? And there's just not enough known about the usage. Setting it closer, we don't know what the elevation looks like, how's this going to impose on anything. We had a problem some years ago where people parked out on the road. There was an EMS, had to come up, couldn't get through. It was blocked. And at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, and it's 20 degrees, and these people were kind enough to go up there with a stretcher to get them out. We couldn't find the owner of the car blocking the road. So there's just a number of things which we want clarified and acted on. And so far we know nothing. Now, they can't say that it's too steep. Kerr's owned this property for at least 12, 13 years. This can't be a surprise about the steepness of this thing. What I had to do in my case is I brought in 15 loads of fill. And across the street from me, he brought in 50 loads of fill to maintain setback and all the rest to be in there. So that's more or less what we're trying to find out about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Patterson, what thoughts do you have on this, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you
No,
said,
I'm just talking to Commissioner Patterson.
I don't know. It's a tough call. Have y'all talked to anybody about that? I mean,
Again, the head of the association was supposed to be the one who was gonna run this thing through. We haven't been able to contact him today to see what's what.
is he part-time? Is he
What, the head of the
is he-
association?
Yes, yeah.
Or the association management, I'm sorry. That's what
Okay,
I
the
meant.
management,
The
okay.
association management, we haven't been able to reach him. Nobody has come to any of the meetings, so I have no idea what's going
I
on.
mean, we saw the variance posted on the tree.
Right.
Oh, another thing, that it said in the variance that they were only gonna clear for the septic tank.
The whole lot's clear.
The whole lot has been cleared. That was another thing that was kind of an irritant.
Curiosity thing.
Yeah,
Now, if you're gonna clear for a septic tank, then you clear for a septic tank.
they cleared the whole
They
lot.
cleared the lot, which is a little presumptive.
And I have some photographs of it if you needed it, so.
Commissioner Johnson, you have some thoughts on this one, sir?
I would like to have some time to see what other variances have been granted in the subdivision, in comparison to this one, and there is opposition.
Well, what you'll probably find is no variances because they didn't ask for a variance and they just built it.
They just did it.
Against code, and once it was built, there was nothing we could do. And this is the last house in the subdivision to be built.
This one right now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to see, some of the distances, some of the other houses are in there now.
Yeah, and those are the ones that we have the biggest problem with, because they didn't
Correct,
allow
they
for
never
parking.
allowed.
Is Mr. Kerr here? Anyone representing?
I believe he lives in Florida.
Okay.
Greg Tao. Greg's not here. Developer.
Keith Kerr.
He's the owner.
Oh,
He was talking
Yeah.
about the contract.
I see.
All right, Commissioners, do you want to make a motion that we table this for 2 weeks to get additional information?
I think that would be wise.
Okay. How do you feel, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion that we table this variance request from Mr. Keith Kerr until the February the 11th meeting. Is that correct, Sherry?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we table it to the end. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
The primary concern right now is parking.
Well, it's parking and safety.
And safety.
There, in other rental areas, a lot of these people come in at 2 o'clock in the morning. And some of them will come in earlier, some will come in later. But some of the rentals will have small kids. And if they come in around dusk, small kids do what small kids do. And some of these guys in these rentals come flying up that hill. And it's a 20 miles, it's a private road.
The road this is being constructed on is a private road. It's not county, it's not state, it's our road.
Right.
And you can have an ongoing situation where somebody who's limited and just jockeying for lack of parking space. These little kids, if anybody's been in a parking lot, these little kids are brutes, and I don't want to have to deal with that because the association getting drawn into this thing as a consequence. So it's a very simple thing. Spend the money to put more fill in the lot. If we can do it, then why can't everyone else?
One other thing, there's a discrepancy in the request. One portion that asks for a variance from the center line of the road, and another portion that says from the edge of the road. And that road has been expanded in certain areas, so you can interpret it different ways. We would like to know, have it set at the center of the road, so that it's.
Well, within your variance request, you got two sets of numbers in there if you haven't seen it.
Okay, it's tabled till February 11th.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to variance request number 4. This is from Somerset Partners of Tennessee, and this is to build a house with porch 20 feet from the center line and 14 feet from the edge of Quail Ridge subdivision. Is there anyone here that objects to this variance request? Okay. Mr. Patterson, you have thoughts on this one, sir?
I don't have any concerns at this time.
I see no issues.
Okay, all right. I'll ask for a motion to approve the variance for Somerset Partners of Tennessee. I'll ask for a motion to do that.
Make the motion.
Okay, I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor? Variance is approved. Item number 5, Serene Mountain Properties Incorporated. This was one we tabled until this meeting. And a variance request to build a new home and porch 17 feet from the edge of Grandeur, 24.5 feet from the center line of Grandeur Drive. And I'm going to make a motion that we approve this variance. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second?
Wait, is there any discussion at all?
Excuse me, pardon me, we're voting here, please don't interrupt us. Make a motion, I got a second, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Johnson, you have to abstain.
I'm abstaining from the vote.
Variance is approved, 2 in favor, 1 abstaining.
Can I ask you a question?
Ma'am, there'll be no more communication on this when the variance is done, thank you.
We got elections coming up.
Okay, item number 7. Sheriff Kirby, you got a property lease?
Why do you leave? Sir, why do you just leave?
Welcome, Sheriff.
Hey, thanks. This is a contract agreement between y'all and Occasional Properties for a piece of property down on Old Quarry Road for us to build a fire drain zone. And have y'all seen a copy of this?
I have not.
That's my fault, but I had discussed it with them.
Okay, I brought a copy, y'all can pass it around. It's just pretty simple, I've looked through it. Y'all can too.
It's, based off the lease that we've done for like the leased fire stations, like the Hazel Fire Station from the past. And there's no cost to the county, for the actual property. County would be responsible for putting up appropriate fencing to keep somebody from just wandering onto it, which primarily, I believe, so you said would be at the two entrances.
Yeah.
So Dan, you got an agreement drawn up?
Yeah, that's what that is, yeah. It's a lease agreement. That's
How many-
about
How many years?
2024 is the first one.
Either side can terminate, it's
Yeah.
6 months notice to the other side.
Yeah.
Give you a point of reference, if you're going out Old Quarry, sir, you know, there's the pond, it's
Right.
basically just before you get to the pond on the opposite side. There's kind of a pasture
Yeah, it's
area
about
out
a
there.
20-acre tract, probably 15 or 20 acres. We're gonna put that range right in the middle of it, so,
Have a nice buffer,
yeah.
no neighbors are close, there are a few cows.
You count.
And we have talked to the cows, yes.
Sheriff, you've already lost usage of your current firing range?
We can go down there at select times, just to do stuff that comes up real quick, but we're getting ready to lose it. We're getting ready to start building houses out there, so, when they start building, we will have lost all access out there. That'll be within the next 20 days probably. But it won't take us long to do this. I think now's a good time because I've talked to Zach. They, you know, obviously when spring gets here and warmer temperatures, they'll be paving roads, so now's a good time for him, so.
And I don't believe it's gonna take much time or work or man hours to do this site, you remember that? Right, okay.
It depends on how big of a dozer you use. And he said he had a D8, so that's pretty big.
Big enough.
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions on this. You and I've talked about this before, Sheriff. Any comments or questions to the sheriff?
No, I'm good with it.
Mr. Johnson?
I want you and your people to hit what you're shooting at, so if you need to practice.
Practice real good.
I have no issues with it.
I have a fear of missing.
Well, hopefully you never have to use it for anything other than target practice, Sheriff. That's our hope on that. Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve this lease contract. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Okay.
Thank y'all. And,
You want us to sign this for you, or?
We'll sign it, we'll sign it in the morning, I'll get Mr. Lynch's copy, and then I'll get the sheriff put that. Then we'll get it on the county's insurance.
Thank you, Sheriff.
thank y'all.
All righty. Mr. Graham,
Sheriff.
come on down, sir.
Well, welcome to the club. I do this all the time.
I have a couple of things I'd like to present tonight. First of all, last April, we were awarded a grant to update our hazard mitigation plan in the amount of, well, the federal share would be $19,500, state share of $2,600. Our share would be $3,900. Our share is paid by in-kind labor working on the grant, so we actually wound up with zero cost in this update for the plan. And we have used North Georgia Consulting Group for the last, as long as I can remember, to provide them. You got some paperwork real quick, I'm sorry. Should have done this to start with. That's the grant. There's two, I guess. We've been using North Georgia Consulting Group for at least the last 2 or 3 cycles to update our hazard mitigation plan. They do a good job for us. They take care of all the documentation and everything. And I'd like to contract with them again if possible. That's one of the documents I gave them was a contract with them to provide this service for us. And that's basically what the grant pays for, is their service. We had also received evidently they wound up with extra money at the state or something, but they're going to allow us an extra $1,600 for management of the grant, which will also help pay for local resources to complete the grant process or the update process on the plan. Bottom line is this won't cost the county anything when it's all said and done. We will have to pay the contractor periodically out of our grant account fund, and then when the plan is updated and completed and approved by FEMA, they'll reimburse us for those amounts. I'm sorry I took so long spitting that out.
Hey, Mr. Graham, am I not correct? This is one of those things that we have to be ultimately eligible for disaster relief funds should that unfortunate event ever occur?
That is correct. That's one of the requirements that FEMA has on us. Our current plan that we have in place is actually good until December of 2022. So this grant would update the plan. We want to start working on it late summer this year so that it gets approved probably sometime during 2021 by FEMA. And that would get us updated for another 5 years.
So the term will be from 2020.
This grant, we has to be completed by December of 2021. But the plan itself that we're updating will be good until, if we complete it in 2021, it'll be good till 2026, I believe, is correct, if I'm not mistaken.
So Robert, is this accurate that the total approved cost of $26,000, that the local input is $3,900?
Yes, yes. And that would be our in-kind match, labor match.
No cash check, just in-kind?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Patterson, do you have any thoughts on this one, sir?
No, it sounds like a good deal to me.
What say you, Commissioner Johnson?
I have no issues with the contract.
All right. Okay, neither do I. I will ask for a motion that we approve this hazard mitigation planning contract. I'll ask for that motion.
Make the motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? It's approved.
Thank you.
You need us to sign this here? You need some- We'll have it for you tomorrow.
That's fine.
This
And
one.
I-
You got something else?
Yes, sir. Got a second item. We're in the process of hiring the firefighters that were approved for the budget for this year. And we're going to need a vehicle, what we call a squad, for them to use to pull trailers, 4-wheelers or 6-wheelers, our disaster trailer. Plus to be able to go to the different fire stations and stuff as required by the call volume and stuff. And what we want to do is we want to take Daryl's truck that he's using now as an EMS supervisor truck, which is an F-250. It's in very good shape still. We want to give them that truck, and what we'd like to do is request to purchase a new EMS supervisor vehicle for Daryl. And we actually have that in the budget, in the fire budget. We have $25,000 in capital outlay, and the remainder would come out of fire operations. We got two quotes. One from Chevrolet for $34,247.65 for a Chevrolet Traverse. We got a quote from Ford for an Explorer for $29,940. We requested the lower bid be, that's the bid we would recommend, the lower price.
This would be purchased locally?
Yes, North Georgia Ford.
Okay. You and I have talked about this before. Commissioner Patterson, you have any questions for?
I talked to Mr. Graham about it as well, and I think it would be a good thing for us to do.
Commissioner Johnson?
I think it'd be a good trade-off.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion that we approve the Ford Explorer for $29,940 to be purchased from North Georgia Ford. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Okay, it's approved. You don't have anything else now?
I don't have anything, unless you have some questions about that.
I don't. Thank you. That's pretty exciting. At some time, pretty soon, we'll be ready to announce our firefighters who we've hired. I know you've got, we have to protect their current positions and make sure they don't burn any bridges, but at some point in time, I think it'd be proper for you guys to make an announcement and introduce them to newspapers, whoever wants to cover that.
We certainly will. I can tell you at this point that all of them are local people.
All local
Our
people.
people locally, so we're able to.
And
We're very fortunate.
And all of them have actually worked for the county in some capacity, volunteer, and so you've got a good experience record with them. And first time that we've hired full-time firefighters in Fannin County, to your knowledge?
It is, yeah. They weren't cross-trained as EMS.
Right,
These
right.
are just
Just
strictly
strictly
firefighters, yeah.
Okay.
And this vehicle, they're gonna be working all over the county.
Yes.
right?
Mhm. They'll respond, that's what we need the vehicle mainly for, is for them to be able to respond to areas other than right here in Blue Ridge.
Right.
We don't want to take our resources, our fire trucks, our rescue trucks, out of the Blue Ridge area to do something in McKaysville or Morganton or wherever. So they'll respond in this squad, and they can pick up a rescue truck or fire truck in that area at one of the stations. Should work out pretty good.
It's good.
Anything further, Commissioner?
Very good news.
Okay. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Darryl. Item 9, Mr. Ratcliffe.
Come to you guys tonight, asked to purchase piece of equipment. This is a Cyclone PTO debris blower. It'll be pulled behind a tractor to blow the leaves and debris out of the ditches and clear the roads. This I got a quote from Mason Tractor Company, and this thing is $5,000. It will go behind one of our tractors. I'll probably use that thing just about all year round.
This is going to save some backs.
Yes, yes. Some of my guys are going out with a pitchfork to clean the ditches out now, and they're having to load them because there's no way getting rid of them where they're at. So there's sometimes they'll haul as much as 6 loads a day, 3 guys loading trucks. I'm talking about a ton truck.
And we've been out looking at, watching this thing operate. It's
impressive what it's.
Yes, it is.
quote comes from Mason Tractor Company here in town.
It's $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000, exactly.
It could, you can get them out pretty, like you say, pretty powerful. You can get them out when it's wet even.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah. Actually went up today and looked at it. They have one actually in Blairsville, the county up there does. And went up today, and of course, you know, all this rain we've had, and they were moving substantial amount of leaves
Stuff.
today. Yeah, everything.
I was talking to you a little earlier about it. It'd be good, but, some of our trash too, the litter we had. You haven't had anybody stand in front of it accidentally?
No, thank you.
I think
Yeah,
it's,
we can blow all the leaves and the litter back up into people's yards,
Yep.
since they blew it in the ditch 9 times out of 10. I'm just joking.
No, we don't.
Better get it up.
No.
I mean, I have no reservations about it.
what kind of warranty we got with that?
This
That's
is,
new.
this one's 12 years on this one. That's like 10 years.
10-year warranty?
Yeah.
Great.
And I talked to a couple of different people that has them, and they said they had no trouble out of them. So, pretty good deal.
Use it year round.
Yeah,
And it's available now, so there's no lead time, and you guys can go to work on that now.
yeah. Sure.
Okay. Any other questions on this one? Commissioner Patterson?
No, sir. I think it'll help our county look nice and neat, look better.
Anything else, Commissioner Johnson?
No.
All right. I'll ask for a motion that we approve this Buffalo turbine leaf blower for $5,000 to be paid for out of SPOS.
Correct.
That's splash, yeah. I'll make that motion.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? You're good.
Thanks, guys. Y'all got any questions about anything right now? while we're- Good.
Good.
We had a lot of trees down a couple of weeks ago. We got them all.
Been cleared up?
It's over 200 trees.
Wow. We've already bragged on you guys a couple of weeks ago, so.
Oh, Thanks.
All right, commissioners. Anything else tonight? Not, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion.
Okay? I'll make a second. All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for being here.